Well, it looks like the Calder race has gotten a lot more interesting. Now, the reason we're making a video about these two guys in particular is because they've been linked for so long that it does kind of feel necessary to update one alongside of the other, because when it comes to these two NTDP guys, their story spans far beyond what has been accomplished at the NHL this season. So, today we're talking about Z, and we're talking about Cole Caufield, that is Z, Trevor Zegras, and Cole Caufield, of course, that's Cole Caufield. The reason we're calling him Z is because that's what the NTDP guys always called Z in all the interviews they did heading into the 2019 NHL Entry Draft. If you didn't know, these guys, Trevor Zegras, Cole Caufield, Jack Hughes, Cam York, who else was there? Matt Boldy, Spencer Knight, Alex Turcotte, and a few other guys. These guys were all a part of the same junior team in 2018-19, the United States National Team Development Program for U18 players, and based off of the star power of the names involved, you can kind of guess how good these guys were. They were really good. And for Trevor Zegras and Cole Caufield, these guys were out there breaking records. One of them, at least, Cole Caufield, was going out there breaking Austin Matthews and Phil Kessel's goal records, and Jack Hughes went out there getting more points in that program than anybody had before, which included the likes of guys like Patrick Kane. But despite the fact that these two guys were the guys at the top of the record books and the front pages of the magazines and all that, you still had the other guys like Turcotte and York and Knight and Zegras who were doing extraordinarily well too. In particular, for Trevor Zegras, I remember all the interviews that the NTDP guys did before the 2019 draft because, they're all on the same team, so they all got drafted in the same year. They all said that Zegras was the most creative player on the team. He had eyes in the back of his head. You always have to have your stick down and be aware when you're playing with Z because he could find you at any opportune moment. And it was guys like Jack Hughes, it was guys like Cole Caufield who all said things like that. And heading into the 2019 draft, Zegras was seen as one of the top players not named Jack Hughes or Capo Caco. It's honestly kind of treason, the fact that he even slipped to 9th overall where the Anaheim Ducks took him. Give it a few more years, and you see Zegras play his first NCAA season. He's playing with BU, he gets 36 points in 33 games played, not a big deal in the slightest. He goes to the World Juniors, and he's doing pretty well, 9 points, 5 games. You then see what he does last year in the shortened season. He gets time in the AHL, he gets time at the World Juniors, and he dominates those scenes, over a point per game in the AHL, with some really cool shootout goals too. And then, of course, this season's World Juniors was an absolute spectacle to watch, over a point per game, over 2 points a game, and it was crazy to see what Trevor Zegras was able to go out there and do, especially since some other guys that were on that team, like Cole Caufield, were not the ones in the driver's seat. Sure, Cole Caufield, who went 15th to the Montreal Canadiens, might have had the better overall stat line in 2018-19 for the NTDP club, but at the World Juniors, when these guys were all reunited, Caufield kind of took a second seat, and it wasn't really his fault. It was mostly deployment. It was like, okay, why is he playing on the third line again? Zegras was given all the opportunities to succeed, and he did just that. He even played in the NHL, where in 24 games played with the Ducks, he had 13 points. This number is significant because he is still a rookie. 24 games is before the 25-game threshold, where a player transcends the rookie status label and becomes a non-rookie the next season. Because he didn't play 25 games, Trevor Zegras is still a rookie today. And now he is at 14 points in 20 games played, good enough in a 3-way tie for second in the NHL in rookie scoring, behind Lucas Raymond, alongside of Dawson Mercer and Moritz Seider. Red Wings fans, I know some of you may be starting to bite your fingernails a little bit, but don't worry, Lucas Raymond still has a pretty good 7-point lead on all these guys. Sure, Moritz Seider is no longer a point-per-game defenseman, but he is still down there in that big tie for second. Dawson Mercer and Trevor Zagris, they've been heating up though, and that's why I wanted to talk about it in this video. We already made another video talking about underrated Calder candidates, talking about Nedeljkovic, this Trevor Zegras, and then of course Dawson Mercer too. But for Zegras and Caufield, I wanted to highlight these two guys' stories specifically because they compare and contrast really nicely. For Caufield, we all know the story about Caufield. I've hyped this guy up for the past year and a half. How do you not know the story of this guy? Cole Caufield came out of nowhere, 15th overall, a small guy, a goal-scoring guy, and a guy that we said was breaking all the records, tying Ovi in the U18 goal department, and breaking the goal production record set by guys like Kessel and Austin Matthews with the NTDP. Definitely not a small task over there. But Caufield had himself that really good postseason run with the Habs going to the finals last year. By the way, Habs playing the Canucks today. It's going to be fun to watch. Two teams that are at the absolute bottom of the standings, dueling it out. Of course you're going to be interested in that. We're going to make a post-game video, by the way, no matter what happens. So, yeah, Montreal, Vancouver, we kind of have to watch that. But because Caufield was so good, in the NCAA, he was a goal a game in his second year. He won the Hobey Baker. He played in the playoffs. He was over a point per game at the Laval Rocket level. All this stuff went right for Caufield, which is why, heading into the season, if you remember the OddsSharks bets, hey, we had ourselves Cole Caufield as the #1 most likely to win it bet that you could make. And Trevor Zegras, sure, towards the beginning of the season, he actually solidified the gap a little bit and was second. But there was a period heading into this year where Trevor Zegras and his Calder odds were like at a plus 2,000, meaning that if you bet $100 on Zegras winning and you were right, you would have gotten a $2,000 payout. Now for Caufield, he was the easiest choice. He had the lowest number for the odds, meaning that if you bet money on Caufield and he won, you would have won the least amount of money than if you had bet on anybody else and that anybody else actually won, because Caufield was seen as the unanimous consensus Calder Trophy winner to be. However, this season, 3 points, 15 games, got sent down to the AHL where he was under a point per game. Okay, he was better in the AHL before. He was better with the Habs last season too. The Habs just kind of suck, and everybody's been doing really poorly on this team. Meanwhile, the Anaheim Ducks, you see what they've been doing. Sure, they lost out a whole bunch of games to start off the year, and they're on a pretty bad losing streak right now, but the 6-game winning streak they had is good enough to put them as one of the top teams in the Pacific Division right now. If you Google this and you look at where they are, hey, they're just right in there, 3rd overall, over Vegas, over San Jose. They're in the playoffs right now, and if they were to fall a little bit, hey, they still have a wildcard spot that acts as a pretty good security blanket. So for guys on this team like Trevor Zegras, for guys on this team like Ryan Getzlaf and Troy Terry and Henrique, these guys have been very good. And we talked about this in the previous video as well. Yes, Trevor Zegras is one part of the moving machine that is the Anaheim Ducks. And now, with his point production of 14 points in 20 games played, even though he went pointless in his first 3 games, and he had 1 point in his first 6 games, Trevor Zegras has really exploded ever since then. If you minus the 1 point in 6 games that he had to start off the year, I mean, that's 13 points in 14 games. That's under a point per game, and now it's good enough to put him in this standing of being just behind Lucas Raymond in the point production race for rookies. And I get it, man. It sucks for Montreal fans to look at Cole Caufield and say, man, he's probably not going to win the Calder this year, even though we hyped him up and everybody had all these expectations for the guy heading into the year. But for Trevor Zegras, at least this is the second best thing, right? We had ourselves the comments that Trevor Zegras made on Twitter, where he's like, yeah, here's a hot take. I think Cole Caufield's going to get 40 goals this year. He also had Caufield himself saying that he thinks that if Zegras plays 82 games, he'll get 70 points. Well, guess what? If you ignore Trevor Zegras' first 6 games where he only had 1 point, he is very well on pace for that number. Now, if you do the total math for Trevor Zegras, 14 divided by 20 multiplied out by 82, he's on pace technically for about 57 points. But as we noted, his production after the first 6 games where he didn't have any points was a lot better. So we'll see if Caufield's prediction for Zegras can come true. But still, you still see that there is a very big sense of camaraderie and love shared between these NTDP guys, and Caufield and Zegras are 2 of the best of that crop, and they're both competing for the same Calder Trophy. It's just that one of them is right there in like the runner-up position, and the other got sent to the AHL. He is now back. He scored his first goal. Caufield's first goal in the NHL this year was great. Like, I don't even know if I've seen any goal like it, where Caufield follows through in his own rebound and he follows it to the front of the net where it falls perfectly for him and he swats it in. Like, that's a weird goal. but it's a goal that goal scorers score, and that's the goal that Cole Caufield scored to kick off his 21-22 campaign. So now that we're at the quarter-way mark of the season, talk to me in the comments what do you think about the Calder race, Caufield, and Zegras, where these guys have been placed. If you're a Ducks fan, how well do you think Zegras is going to do to end off the year in the remaining 3 quarters? And for Montreal fans, let's just hope Caufield scores like a hat-trick tonight, you know? The Vancouver Canucks kind of deserve it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed. This was Trevor Zagris, and bye.